Blinking back tears, Jack grabbed his Baltimore Orioles baseball hat and pulled it down on his head, weighing his options. What should he do next? Part of him wanted to stay with the car, clinging desperately to the belief that he was wrong and there was no EMP, just a set of unlucky coincidences. It all added up, though. His car's electrical system had broken, and his cell phone, and Tom's phone, and the transformers. Running once more over the list of dead electronics at his disposal proved how unlikely that was, as much as he wanted it to be true. Amy would be worried sick about him by now. He didn't have a way to call her. He needed to hear her voice, to hear her tell him that she and the boys were safe. Maybe he could find a town with a working phone, or somebody with a ham radio, or something that still worked. Either way, if he sat here waiting, he'd drive himself mad with nothing to do but worry about his family. That much he knew. Filled with a desperate need to call his family, Jack resolved to leave the car and go find help. Somebody had to have a phone or a radio that worked. He grabbed his laptop bag out of the car and dumped the contents into the trunk. Everything he planned on taking would fit in the small bag. He slipped off his dress shoes and socks and exchanged them for a pair of white athletic socks and comfortable tennis shoes. He rummaged through his suitcase, taking a few changes of clothes and his toothbrush. Last of all, he grabbed the small black bug-out bag from the corner of the trunk and tossed it into the laptop bag. It only weighed a couple of pounds and contained a bare minimum of supplies. Jack had ordered it online a few years ago when he'd seen it on sale. The kit came with 3 energy bars, some Band-Aids, a compass, and a foil emergency blanket. To that, he'd added some other items he knew would be useful. A multi-tool, a water-purifying straw, 3 wire snares to trap small game, a lighter, and an emergency fishing kit. It was everything he needed to start a fire, keep warm, catch and cook his food, and sanitize his water. He stuffed the supplies into the laptop bag along with a bottle of water from the car. It wasn't much. He wished he had the much larger BOB from his Suburban. That one had a 9mm and a lot more supplies, but he'd been afraid to pack the 9mm in his company vehicle. That would be a quick way to get fired if anybody found out about it at his work. He'd also love to have the 1972 Chevy Silverado parked in his garage at his disposal. The old beast was probably still running, since it didn't have an onboard computer or fuel injection. There was nothing to be done about it. Hopefully, Amy would remember to try to start it up. He didn't have a bug-out location, they just didn't have the money. But Amy was smart and tough as nails, and she'd get some use out of it if she could. Amy, his wife. He had to call her. Jack slung the laptop bag over his shoulder, pulled his baseball cap down tight over his head, and set out down the road. There had to be a working phone somewhere.